Welcome back. Well, he is known around the world as one of the most active, outspoken and talented musicians in the business of rock and roll. He's just completed a world tour and is currently slaving away over his typewriter as his new autobiography takes shape. Joining us this morning, Frank Zappa. Frank, good morning.
Morning, Mike.
Nice to talk to you.
Same here.
I had to drag you away from that orangutan. There's a certain wonderful gentility about those creatures.
Yeah, I like it a lot better than most of the people I've had to work with in the last year.
Does it remind you of any of the people in rock and roll?
No, because it seems to be far too intelligent and considerate and sensitive. That's a very nice orangutan. Yeah, I know, he made it make a farting noise over there. That's a trick that they use in the movies.
You are regarded, I guess, by the public at large as a sort of a weird, bizarre sort of fella, but what you're about right now is very much common sense. It's you want people to go and register their vote.
Well, we need it here in America. Out of all the industrialized nations, the registration factor for American voters is lower than just about every place else.
Why do you think that is, Frank?
Well, there's two factors. One, I think Americans have become pretty much bored by politics because of the choices that they've been offered. I mean, you know, you're here. Look at what the choices are. You can't really get too excited about it. And then when they look at the candidates that are running, it takes away the focus of the local bond issues and things like that they also have to decide, you see. And those are very important to people. That's one of the reasons why I say you should register to vote even if you don't like the candidates, because you have to decide matters of your own economic future, and this is especially important for young people.
Because I guess a lot of our viewers in Australia mightn't know that in America it's not compulsory. In Australia we have to vote. In America you don't have to, and a lot of Americans choose not to, which always surprises me in a country where they're always ready to stand up and wave the flag and say how proud they are of their country, but they can't be bothered voting.
Well, let me quote you something from the book. I wrote a little chapter on communism. I said communism doesn't work because it's against a basic law of nature. It's against human nature because people want to own stuff. And I said, are we now at the point in America where we are attempting to prove that democracy doesn't work because it is against human nature? In order for democracy to work, people have to participate in it. If it's your nature to be lazy and you don't participate, you will prove that democracy is a failure.
It's very hard to work in this country when you constantly seem to tear down those who aspire to become president. I mean, you get a fellow like Quayle. It seems to me that next perhaps someone's going to stand and they're going to sort of say, well, this guy stole an apple at school when he was 12. How can he be president?
Well, I think that there are a lot of other things you could say about Dan Quayle rather than what he did during the Vietnam War, because that wasn't too unique. There's a lot of people that did the same thing. The thing is, I think the man is basically unqualified to hold any kind of an office, let alone vice president. And God forbid if Bush got in and he should kick off and Quayle would take over, we'd be seeing some nuclear war someplace.
You've got over 260 million people here, Frank. Why can't you get somebody with a bit of spark, get up and go? I mean, either they're very rich people who seem to become president of the United States, or else they're guys who are suddenly pulled from out of left field like Frank, I forgot his name, Dan Quayle.
The problem is that in order to run in the United States, you need a huge amount of money, and you either have to have it in your bank account because your parents gave it to you, or you have to be willing to do some things which are not especially nice in order to raise that money. It seems to be a scam.
Maybe we have a new candidate over there, just cutting back to Sunshine.
Sunshine, give it to Sunshine. This is one electable animal.
What do you learn about yourself as you're writing your autobiography? Are there things coming out that you say, hey, is that me?
Oh, no, I'm not doing a confession book. This basically, the amount of stuff that's in the book that deals with my life is very small. The reason for doing the book is it gives me a chance to talk about tangential subjects in print. So there's a lot of politics in it. There's a lot of religion. There's a lot of, entertainment type stuff. The things about my life, I don't think my life is anything spectacular. That's like a couple of chapters and it's all gone. And then after that, it's talking about more interesting things.
Yeah, talking of interesting, you name your children, your daughter Moon Unit, your son is Dweezil. To me, that was interesting.
Really?
It was interesting because I know plenty of Sarahs and I know plenty of Simons and Andrews. Yeah. Where did you get those names?
Well, I just think they're nice names, and I think they're appropriate for the children, and I've never been that fond of Simon, Andrew, Waldo, or any of those other kinds of terrific names that people name their children, so what's the difference?
Okay, well, good luck with everything you're doing. Obviously still a very busy man. When are you going to come back to Australia?
Oh, I don't know. I'd like to come back soon because I really liked it down there. I haven't been there since about '76, and I had a real good time then. I'm about due for another trip one of these days.
Okay, thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you. Mr. Frank Zappa, one of the greats of rock and roll, joining us live this morning on Good Morning Australia, coming to you from Hollywood.